Welcome. This is Tim Kelleher from Pima Community College in Tucson, Arizona. This morning I am going to show you what exactly you have to do for your hands-on training when you sign up for it with the hand and power tools. This is only the hand tools right now. So we're going to start off, and there's about 5 different things that you're going to need to do, along with identifying problems with different tools. There may not be any problems with tools. So read that chapter in your textbook or online and ensure that you understand what makes a good tool and what doesn't make a good tool. Understand that we want you to know the information firsthand. Then come out and rehash that so that we know that you understand that information correctly. All right. Now you'll be broken up into two-person groups throughout the outside area of the lab area. You all have a toolbox. It'll look something similar to this, and inside there's the same tools that I'm going to show you. Safety is our #1 concern here. If you don't have gloves and you don't have safety glasses, you don't go and play with the tools. Simple as that. All right. So please come prepared, ready to go. All right. Do not come to these training sessions not reading or filling out the fill in the blank questions prior to getting here. All right. Well, for myself, I'll know exactly if you did or didn't, and I'll just ask you to reschedule. All right, so please take that time and thoroughly understand what we're asking you. All right, so this morning, like I said, we got the basic tools here that you're going to start off with. The first one is your framing hammer. Again, as the book explains, all right, the face of the hammer comes in different styles. This is a waffle head, they call it, cross. It's designed for straight framing, basically. You don't want to be trying to hang a picture frame with this, all right? Because this is going to leave marks. But in rough framing, you don't care. The next one is the wrecking bar, all right? Now, these come in all different sizes as well, all right? But just be sure you don't have it razor sharp, all right? This is designed for several things: separating lumber, pulling destruction, basically. All right, pulling out big nails. You don't use this on a 6-penny nail, all right, but you shall use it on a let's say a 16D or bigger. All right. Then we have the flat bar. Now the flat bar has 3 different areas that you can get nails out of. The reason being, and I'll show you, you can use all 3 of these to do one nail from start to finish, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Then we have the little cat's paw. All right, the cat's paw is a basic tool for real fine small nails. You don't want to be trying to pull a 16D out with this thing, because otherwise you're going to have a lobotomy in the head because that nail's going through it. All right? So just be sure that it's all intact and it's ready to be used, and we'll show you how to do that. Inside your toolbox, you're going to have an assortment of nails, and you're going to take one of each nail and pound it into the lumber and then remove that nail. All right? So use a little common sense when you're trying to approach this. All right? All right, so we got the safety glasses and gloves on. We're ready to go. And just for personal reasons, your work gloves should be made out of something sturdy. Don't try to do garden gloves and put nails in. It isn't going to be very productive. All right? So the thing that you got to be aware of is you're going to have to get 2 pieces of lumber and it should already be cut for you. You're just going to use scrap anyway. All right. Now I'm doing it on top of the table. All right. You're going to probably end up taking this, nailing it, and then putting it on the ground and removing it. All right. So you're going to put 1 foot on this while you use the tool to get rid of it, or to pull up the nail, excuse me. All right. So let's just start off pretty simple here. All right. And the reason we want you to use different nails, just to get one familiar with the different nails, what they're called, and then as well as to understand which tool to use. All right. Now, we were talking earlier about the 16Ds and 10Ds and stuff like that. We want to be sure that the larger nail that you pull out, you're going to try to bring it all the way through the lumber. Now, when you're using a hammer, you want to be comfortable. You don't want to be up on top of this thing, and you don't want to be doing this little tap, tap, tap thing. The other thing you don't want to do is look, be sure there's no knots where you're working, because that's going to help a great deal. Now, I started with my fingers holding this and just tapping it into place. Now I want to get out of the way, all right, and get a good grip on your hammer. And I'm telling you, these are pretty cheap hammers, but when you get a really good one, you'll know the difference. Go to Harbor Freight, go to Walmart, pick up a cheap hammer, and you'll feel the difference. And then go to Sears or, you know, a construction store, Lowe's, Home Depot, places like that, and buy and look at their more expensive hammers, and you will see a considerable difference in that. Most of them are now all made of plastic, but you can get the wood ones. You know, us older guys like the wood ones. They're hickory, they last forever, and they're sturdy. Now, but with the technology out there, there are new hammers, new faces that will take the impact of the nail, and you won't feel it through your arm as well, or as much, excuse me. All right, so now, I don't want to sit there and come down on it like this, okay? Because this is engulfing and you're going to miss, all right? So you want to get it about 1.5 feet or so, but you want to keep your eye on that nail. You know where the hammer's at, all right? And you want to hit it square. If you start going like this, it's going to bend, all right? But you want it straight on, all right? And you want to drive that force all the way through. Don't do this. Quick blows. All right, I just hit the base of it. Oh, that's why. Hit a nut. So you want to be sure your hands are away, the tool is square, and you want to follow through with the hammer. Just follow through with it. All right, now you see I missed the head and it bent it a little bit. All we're worried about right now is learning how to pull them out. The next one is known as a double-headed nail. These are normally used in concrete work, form work, stuff like this, where you want to sink it to the bottom head, but leave the top exposed to pull it out at a later date. Now you want to keep these separated a little distance because you're going to be working with different tools to pull them out. All right. Then I want you to use the little penny nails with no heads in them. All right, and I'll show you why. All right, if you don't have that, just use the small 6 pennies with the little head on them. All right, I'm going to put both of them in here so that we fully understand what we have to do here. Whoops. So now we have our nails in, and we're going to start with the smallest nail first. All right. Now, for safety reasons, I'm going to put it in the vise so I have some leverage on this thing. But when you go to do it, you're going to be putting your foot down here on the ground and using the ground as your leverage and your body weight. All right. Now this is a little bit more awkward, but it's safer for me. All right, remember we talked about our three tools. And we're going to start off with the cat's paw. The cat's paw is going to take out these 2 nails right here. All right, and the reason I'm using that is because this is buried. Now, can you imagine trying to work with this, trying to get that out, or even this? You're wasting your time and your energy. All right, so let's start with the first one. And you're going to have to, whatever you're going to use the cat's paw on, you're typically going to ruin the surface of the wood. All right, so if this is something very delicate, you may want to use another tool. All right, but you bring it down at about a 45-degree angle. Now you'll see that I'm up underneath the head on this. All right, and I may get it the first time or I may not. All right, but like I told you earlier, you're going to destroy the lumber. Whenever you're working with the smaller nails, it always has a tendency of popping off. All right, but if you can, just bend it up back to as straight as you can get it, and then wedge that tool back up underneath it. Okay, so now I'm getting the head to move, and I just want to ensure that it's squared up. All right. Now sometimes you're going to run into this problem. All right. You're just going to have to move it around, and that's why using this on fine heads is really, it can be frustrating. All right. But then you just end up pulling the whole nail out. All right. Now, in this case, it has a better head on it. But you won't be, in this case, it isn't flush. All right. We can bring it down a little bit. All right. Again, get it up underneath in the wedge. Bring it forward. And then pull it up. All right. Pretty simple process, but like I said, this, if it has a head, you're not going to destroy it as well. If it doesn't have a head, it's going to take some abuse. So, cat's paw, small nails with heads or without heads. All right. The other tool I want to show you is the flat bar. Now, you could use this several different ways. All right. Now, normally, being this size of nail, you really don't want to use this tool for it, but you're going to be in some tight working areas sometimes, and this works really well. Now you notice that it was too high to use the end piece. All right, it wasn't high enough so that I could pull this up a little bit. All right, same thing, drop it in, pull it up, and it should catch in that wedge there. All right. Now, I'm going to just set this back in the hole here for a second. Now, if it was longer, I could use this end of it. But understand, when you go to pull on these things, you're more than likely going to let the nail shoot, all right? What you want to do is, you don't want to sit there and put yourself in an arm's way, all right? Pulling down on this, doing knuckle busters, whatever. You want to use the momentum that you have in the tool, all right? So get yourself a piece of scrap wood that is typically your 2x4. So we have a little piece of scrap wood. I want to try to use my leverage to pull the rest of that nail out without it flinging out somewhere and hitting somebody in the face. All right? So the flat bar, all right? And again, you're just going to have to practice using these to get a real good feel for it. Now, remember our 16D or 10Ds, all right? Again, this has joined both pieces of wood, and sometimes it will go right through it, all right? So what you want to do is, you want leverage on your side, all right? So your foot is standing back here just like it was with the rest of them, all right? And you want to pull, all right, to a point. But if you start to lose the war with the bar, again, that scrap piece of wood, all right, is going to come in real handy, all right? And then you just want to pull that up, all right? And it comes out. There's very little roughhouse with the lumber. You're not going to end up hurting yourself. Okay? So that is the first task that you're going to end up doing. All right? So there's enough tools for everybody to do their own projects. There's plenty of scrap out here to do the job correctly. All right? Back to the penny nails, the real fine finish nails. Sometimes, you know, you may have to use the wrecking bar to get in between that wood. Now, of course, this doesn't have any nails, but you can jam that in there with the hammer, pry up on it. All right? You can use, this is why they call it the wrecking bar, because typically you're trying to destroy something in the process. And the same thing, use that hammer, hit it square on the head, and start pulling it up. All right? People just get carried away with it, and they lose their safety point on it. All right? So that's the first set of tools that you're going to use. Now we're going to move on to the next part.